This is an experience that shapes social interaction. This is an experience that shapes the trajectory of lives. This fertility cycle is a force of nature. It ripples through our world that shapes so much of human experience. The way that we orient and regard this fertility cycle has an impact on all of our lives because this is the cycle by which life recreates itself.
Welcome back to the Experience of We. I'm Matthew.
I'm Naomi, and today we are here to talk about an experience that we are all sharing. This is an experience that underlies every moment of every day. This is an experience that shapes social interaction. This is an experience that shapes the trajectory of lives. And the experience that I am talking about, that we are talking about, is the fertility cycle, otherwise known as the menstrual cycle. We went with fertility because it feels more. Menstrual felt a little clinical to us, but fertility, the earth is fertile. Spring is fertility, fertility feels, and so we refer to it as the fertility cycle.
Yeah, I just want to add, and this is something I really don't like, by the way. I feel like in addition to sounding clinical, there's this slight air of stigma or taboo around the word menstrual cycle. At least for me, when I was growing up, it felt taboo. It felt taboo to say it. There was this sense of uncleanness that I never remember like thinking myself like, I think that's unclean. But I remember sort of like inheriting that from, I don't know, media, from social experience. And so we, I think, want to reclaim a sense of more than cleanliness, a sense of sacredness about this process.
Yes, a sense of beauty, a sense of almost universality. Because even if we ourselves are not a person who's having the fertility cycle, the thing where we build a uterine lining and fill it with nutrients and get it ready to create life, and then shed it if we're not creating life, because it takes a lot of energy to keep that thing up, and then we rebuild it and shed it. And then eventually we have a second spring, a reawakening that I'm only beginning to learn about. But
At 31.
yeah, at
Yeah,
31,
you just-
because I haven't had older women in my life who I've had that kind of intimacy with. I'm building that now, with a couple of people. And so, that's why I'm beginning.
Oh, we are. We are.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's what this video is about.
Yeah.
That we are beginning to learn about it.
Yeah. So yeah, even if we ourselves are not a person with this ongoing fertility cycle, even if we're not partnered to one, the way that we orient and regard this fertility cycle has an impact on all of our lives, even if our regard is, I'm not interested in women. That also shapes our lives. And so, because this is the cycle by which life recreates itself, at least a half of it, but the half that can recreate the life itself.
Yeah, the life is born in your body, and this process is integral to how life can be recreated in your body potentially.
Exactly.
Because even for people who choose not to recreate life in their bodies, if they have that potential, they still have the cycle active. You still have the cycle active, even if you're not actively creating life with it. which
Yeah,
means it's a part of our life together.
exactly, exactly. I am I am somewhat new to having my full fertility cycle in my adult life, I guess. I started birth control, hormonal birth control, specifically a Mirena IUD, when I was 17. And I was on one and then had it changed out and had another until I was 30. And this meant that I didn't bleed. I didn't have my usual cycle. And so we are only a couple of years in to exploring it together. And in part, that's kind of reset both of us around it because, like Matthew, I inherited the stigma around it. That was like not the stigma that some women face of this is dirty, um, but the stigma of it that's like, yep, women bleed. We have periods. We need tampons or pads. If you need to, like, if we need a man to go to the store for us or with us, he needs to not be embarrassed about it. And I'll take care of my part and you take care of your part.
Yeah.
And that's being cool around it. And certainly that is a very important developmental phase. That is way better than orienting to it as dirty and wrong.
Yes.
And by better, I mean aligned with the cycles of life. And there is another layer that Matthew and I got to step into, both because of the overall trajectory of our relationship and our shared values, but also because I came back into that cycle recently during our time together. And so when I was on my Mirena IUD, my energy and mood was very flat. I was very stable. I did not heave cries, and I also did not have sparkling joy. And I got kind of flatter over time, and I didn't have a lot of energy for affect, so my face was flatter, and I I also didn't have access to a lot of my emotions while on it. Like I couldn't feel very strong anger, for instance, so I couldn't feel my boundaries, which actually turns out was a disability to not be able to feel my boundaries and act on them. And as I say all of this, I'm kind of setting the context for where we are now. And I want to say during that time for me, having hormonal birth control was exactly what I needed. And in my context, in my circumstances, that was what was right for me. And so this isn't a hormonal birth control bad story. This is just my experience,
Yeah.
which included I had a time when I really needed that for a lot of reasons.
And just to, I guess, reinforce what you said, from my perspective, I absolutely resonate that that was what you needed during that time. And also, it seemed, you called it like a disability. You didn't have access to your full emotional range. You didn't have full access to your libido. You didn't have the energy surges that sometimes come.
Yeah. I like basically I didn't have any of the delightful or insightful ups and downs of the cycle. I didn't have, as Matthew was saying, the burst of energy that is the follicular phase after we bleed, which by the way, I am in that phase right now. I am currently smack dab in the middle of follicular phase post bleed. And so I am full of energy and I'm ready to go like a million different directions with my creative energy. And it takes real self-discipline and mastery at times to slow down and be present. Um, but it's so much fun to have this much energy. I can dial into my physical practice and dance and all of that sensuality. And as the phase continues, as I get into luteal and I have lower energy, I get more sensitive and I get more sensitive to emotions. And that's a time of great insight into myself and my relational patterns with others,
Mm-hmm.
into our
Mm-hmm.
relational patterns and our greater relational sphere. And then the bleed itself is it's such a sacred shared time for us. We've been building shared ritual around it. That is basically so that we can orient to this one, not as a like annoying logistic that I have to take care of by myself, but two, to drop us both into the beauty and sacredness of this process by which life recreates itself. Whether or not we are able to have children, which we would very much like to, but that's a whole nother video.
Yeah, I want to break in because again, I don't think I want to take space for it in this introductory video, but I do really want to speak about my male masculine experience of how uh, I was, I guess, not consciously instructed, but instructed to orient to the fertility cycle, and one of those ways was to feel like it was a girly thing or like a woman's thing. Or it wasn't something that was relevant to the realm of the masculine, the strong, and and
Man,
and that again, this was just my experience. I don't know if other men or male-bodied people had this experience, but it was not oriented towards as this is what recreates a life. This is how my life was created. I arose from this process. My very life is a product of this, not something that happens to women once a month. But actually, I'm here because of it, and reorienting away from sort of the socialized learning, most of it indirect, most of it through media, most of it through side comments and passive learning, and seeing it now as the process through which everyone I've ever known and loved was created.
yeah, there's that very striking phrase. There are two kinds of people in the world, women and their children.
Or mothers and their children.
Yeah,
Yeah, mothers
mothers
and
and their
their
children.
children. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that was a eye-opening statement the first time I heard it. Oh, oh man. Oh man. Yeah. All people come out of a mother.
Yeah.
Whether you call it a mother or not, that's where we all came from. And that's a powerful embodied realization that we
Yeah.
both had.
I actually want to say it again because
Mm.
I stumbled the first time saying it around, and it's such a powerful phrase to me. There are two types of people in the world, mothers and their children.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I think one of the things I notice in having this first video in this series is there's a word that's woman, and there's a lot of discussion happening, sort of ongoing. I don't think it's concluded about what that means, what woman means, and so I want to sort of just note that as we begin this series, that there are aspects of this that feel very, very connected to womanhood to us. And we want to be careful to be in the understanding that that's not what it means to everyone.
Yeah, there are people who experience this fertility cycle who don't identify as women. And there are people who don't experience this fertility cycle who do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that is something that we want to honor as we explore this. Um, and we want to honor that there is a unique experience
Mm-hmm.
of cycling through these phases as a way of being, going on the energetic and emotional ups and downs of it, and the therefore relational phases of being within it. Like our day-to-day life is pretty different when I'm in follicular versus when I'm in luteal,
Oh,
which
big
is
time.
right before the bleed.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, coming to understand it together, which is a journey we're very much on, has taught us so much about what it is to be this woman body, this female body, and what it is to be in relationship
Mm-hmm.
through this with
Mm-hmm.
this force of nature. And like that understanding of it is a thing that's really come through for us, that is part of what inspires us to do this series, is that this fertility cycle is a force of nature,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it ripples through the human world and the more than human world, though we're less qualified to talk on the latter. Um, but it ripples through our world, causing these cascades and ripples out from it that shapes so much of human experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so too the fertility cycle of our Mother Earth, who blooms at certain times and doesn't naturally bloom at other times.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that our attunement with that cycle of Mother Earth's, or our lack thereof, drastically impacts who we are as a species and our future.
Yeah.
And so coming back into relationship with the fertility cycle, which the female body is the embodiment of among humans, coming back into rhythm with that contains such a deep well of connection to myself between the two of us, for Matthew to his self,
Mm-hmm.
to our fundamental humanity, because again, humanity has propagated for all of these years through this cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Us making it to this place of technology and population was through getting very very good at manipulating the fertility cycle.
In a best case scenario, I guess managing or stewarding.
Yes.
In a worst case, manipulating.
Yes, and we see both happening, which I think is why that came up for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so so yeah, this is an opening video in a series and playlist and a exploration that we want to invite you on, that we want to share with you. And it is a reclamation for me personally of what I feel is my womanhood, my experience as a female-born woman, a person born female who identifies as woman. There is a very real and particular embodied experience of that, and emotional experience of that, and relational experience of that, that takes on a multitude of forms and has so much depth for us to come in contact with the truth underlying the human stories of who should be attracted to whom and who shouldn't be attracted to whom, and who should be able to have children and who should not be able to, and what kind of marriage is legal. Underneath all of that, there are these forces of nature operating, and the fertility cycle is one of the most pivotal. Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, it feels like a reclamation too. A reclamation of participating intentionally and consciously in this force of nature. I am not, I do not know what the experience is like firsthand. I'm learning to companion Naomi through this experience, and I'm still in the process of touching, as I said, the fact that this is the process by which life gets recreated. And it's not just something that happens when we choose to make babies or when we're able to make babies. That's a tiny, tiny subset of the entirety of this process, which also ends at a certain time in your life. Your capacity to recreate life ends.
And the fertility cycle transforms into another state of woman or female-bodied woman.
Yeah. And so, yes, for me, it feels like either reclaiming or claiming. I don't know. I don't know what language to use, but claiming or reclaiming, maybe claiming my responsibility to steward this force of nature with you, not to leave it as something for you to clean up after,
Yes.
or for me to feel good about because I'm cool with it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And this body, it co-evolved with this body. Um, these two bodies formed a symbiotic relationship. Um, and and so there's also, from my perspective of your experience, there's a reclamation of your role in the evolutionary process, of your role in civilization and holding space and things like that.
Yeah, yeah, which is I'm I'm still grappling with.
Yeah.
I don't I don't have a final position in this, just a sort of, I guess you'd call an awakening into a responsibility that I didn't know I had and I wasn't educated about or prepared for, that now I'm learning on the fly after I had a previous marriage and wasn't involved really at all. And so this is very much a learning process for me.
Yeah, yeah, and for me, it's also a learning process. I feel like um, I am the, so this is a fundamentally spiritual experience for me personally, for we personally. This is a spiritual experience too. And so I notice the way that is most authentic to me to talk about it is I feel as though my body is a temple that is a channel or a host for this force of nature. And so I feel too like a student of it and humble in it, and also, like, if I may say so, resplendent in it, and like enjoying in it and savoring it, um, because it there are so many personal and relational gifts to be had within it if we create a relational space that is safe and welcoming and curious and all the things that we are going to be talking about how to co-create on this channel.
Yeah, there's so much we want to share. I feel like launching into it now.
I know, and yet, these videos too are a cycle. We are going to be going through cycles of talking about the fertility cycle with you. And so, yeah, I noticed that I have a lot of passion for this. You can probably tell I'm like glowing as I talk about this.
And that's aligned with where you are in your cycle.
It is aligned with where I am. But yeah, truly, uh, I used to orient to my fertility cycle as a combination logistical challenge and a tool at my disposal. And that got me some really scarring places and dangerous places. And so being at this place now, and I intend to go into those places at some point, but this is not the video for it. Being at this place now of it being such a something that Matthew and I hold so sacred together, and that we are attuning to, and that we've learned so much from, and that we're exploring with you personally, as the body that we are basing this on. This is a healing moment for me. Like right now, you and me and we are sharing a healing moment, for me personally, and as a member of the fertility cycling part of our species. And so I am deeply grateful to share this with you. I am very excited to continue sharing. And I notice I'm naturally drawing this to a close.
Yeah, I feel complete.
All right. Well, yeah, again, deep gratitude for this experience, and so much I want to share with you, that we want to share with you. And I feel loved by you, Matthew. Bye for now.
Bye.